Yes, you're welcome to another episode of Ikezy Talk Spot. And as you can see, fresh new studio. We're starting to go live in our in-person studio. Just before I go on to what I want to discuss today, um, I'll be bringing in guests. I'm located here in McKinney, Texas. So if you're interested, you want to have conversations in and around the game, you want to talk about your club, let's know if your club is performing or not, right? Let's banter. I have a lot of segments, lined up. So just reach out to me, hit me up with my DMs, and then, we can go from there. Now, straight to today's agenda, right? I want to do a preview of the Arsenal versus Bournemouth, or Bournemouth versus Arsenal, because we're going to Bournemouth Stadium to play the games, and a away game for Arsenal. First of all, I think you would all agree with me. The last game week, it was a brilliant result for Arsenal and Arsenal fans. Why? Because our other title contenders, right? The others that are in the title race, they drop points. Like this Man City drew to Sunderland away. We defeated Aston Villa 4-1, and Liverpool also drew at Anfield to Leeds, right? Others, they're not of great, they're not significant in the grand scheme of things, but Chelsea drew to Bournemouth. Manchester United drew to Wolves. I think Tottenham also drew to Brentford. So it was a good weekend for Arsenal fans. Now, what that means is that Arsenal now leads the title or the table with 4 points. That is, we have 45 points after playing half of the fixtures, and Man City has 41 points and Aston Villa has 39 points. Now, we are potentially on a 90 points 90 points season. Like, we could potentially end the season with 90 points simply because we have 45 points in the first half. So if we have to mirror the performances in the second half, then we'll have 90 points. And I think 90 points in the Premier League today should be enough for you to win the title. And that's because I always keep saying the Premier League keeps getting harder every season. Gone are the days when you could use the 100 points, or you need the 100 points or 90 points, or that you could actually get to 100 points because the competition then was not really stiff. But right now, anybody can beat anybody. Anybody can beat anybody. For example, if you look at the Sunderland game, Sunderland, they just got promoted to the Premier League, and they've been a revelation so far. Teams can't just seem to beat them at home, right? These are the levels of the Premier League. We have a lot of teams, Bournemouth, for example, that were playing. They're no slouch either. They are a very good and solid team, but that's not going to matter when Arsenal play them at the Vitality Stadium. Now, I would say that this game is equally as important as the Aston Villa game, and here's why. Last season, we lost to Bournemouth twice. Arsenal lost to Bournemouth twice last season. I remember the first game, which was at their stadium, Vitality Stadium. We were playing well, or relatively well, before Saliba got red carded for the most blatant yellow card ever, right? In my opinion, Arsenal were robbed in that game, and then we went on to lose the game 2-0. And in the reverse fixture, when they came to the Emirates Stadium, we got beat 2-1. I remember we scored first. I think it was a Declan Rice goal, and then Danny Hudson equalized, and then Evan Nielsen scored, and they beat us 2-1. So this is revenge time. And we need to take this game very serious. Bournemouth is a very tricky fixture. Like, playing at Bournemouth is a very tricky fixture. The game can go either way, so we need to be at it. And I trust these boys. I'm talking about the mentality of the squad, and I think that the mentality is starting to show, and I hope that they can, sustain this till the end of the season, because this is how you are going to be champions. They don't have that champions mentality yet because they have not won it, right? But they can build that, and I think that right now, because I've been very critical of Arsenal this season. I've been very critical, but I think that even when we're not playing well, we're able to grind out the results, and we're grossly underperforming our XG. But what that tells you is that the fact that we're even able to generate those XGs in the first place means that at the end of the day, we'll still be able to, if we're able to, convert our chances, we'll be okay. And that was evident against Aston Villa, right? So, one thing I'd like to point out before this game is I love the fact that majority of our players are coming back. Yes, it's been give and take. When Gabriel came, we lost Timber and Calafiori, right? But then it looks like Timber came back early. He played the game against Aston Villa, but it looks like Calafiori, Mosquera, they are more sidelined, in the long term. But it is good. It is finally nice to have Havertz, to have Ben White, to have Jesus back, because these are wild card players. These are players that are very unpredictable, and Arsenal are going to need these players moving forward if we're going to, sustain, the run that we want to for the next couple of games, right? And for this game, I think Ateta can approach it in two ways. It's either he rotates heavily if it feels like the squad is giving him confidence enough. And when I mean rotate heavily, Saka doesn't start, Madueke starts, Martinelli starts instead of Trossard, Jesus starts instead of Gyökeres, Merino can keep his place, or Eze starts instead of Merino, and we can use Nogard as a 6 and then use Odegaard as the other left 8, or if Merino is going to start, we can use Odegaard or Eze as the other left 8. Miles Lewis Kelly starts at left back. Nkapie starts at LCB. Saliba maintains position as RCB, and then Ben White starts at RB, and then we can use Raya. Right, that is a heavily rotated squad. But I think that, and that's bearing in mind that we play Liverpool midweek next week, right? And I think it will be an opportunity for us to rest, a lot of our senior players. However, I don't think that is going to be the case. I think that there's going to be a slight, rotation, right? Probably just going to see 3 or 4 players come in, from the game that, 3 or 4 new players come in, in an alteration, in a change to the lineup from last game against Aston Villa. And what I mean is that Martinelli can come in, Saka maintains his position, Gyökeres probably drops to the bench, Jesus starts, and then someone like Miles Lewis Kelly starts ahead of Nkapie, right? And then we have Gabriel and Saliba and Ben White. So every other position remains the same. That is a slightly rotated squad. I think that could also work. And then we go full squad against Liverpool during the midweek, and then the FA Cup coming next weekend, we can now rotate heavily. The likes of Nwaneri can play Kepa, because it's an FA Cup game. No disrespect to Portsmouth, but it's a game that we should be winning regardless of whoever we field, right? So, like I said, it's a very important game. We lost last season twice to Bournemouth. We need to get the job done. Let's be very professional with it. It's an away game, so I get it. We might not be able to play our best football. In fact, I don't, at this point, December, January, I'm not even looking for, scintillating performance, tiki-taka or what. Just score. If you can get a set piece in, get it in. If you can make them to score an ungo, let them score it. I saw a tweet yesterday because a lot of fans have been criticizing us for finding ways to win at these set pieces, own goals, right? A lot of our rival fans would have killed, or don't let me use the word kill, would have done anything to have their teams have their opponent team score own goals for them, because they all drew the game. Right? If you ask a Man City fan right now, would you have taken an own goal to win the game 1-0? They would have taken it. If you ask a Manchester United fan against Wolves, they would have taken it. Chelsea fan in the game against Bournemouth, they would have taken it. Right? Liverpool fans in the game against Leeds, if you had someone like Starch or Calvert-Lewin has scored an own goal for you guys, you would have taken it. So there is no point criticizing Arsenal for finding ways to win. Premier League is so hard. If you get a goal by any means, just collect your 3 points, thank God, and move on. Honestly, that is how hard the Premier League is this season. So, the same thing applies to Arsenal. Anyhow, anyway, get your 3 points and move to the next game, which is against Liverpool, because we need to build momentum up until that game. We have to win. We need to win. And I believe that we'll win. So, my prediction for that game would be Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 2. Right, I see us keeping a clean sheet simply because Gabriel is back. That is, if Gabriel and Saliba, and I think both of them are going to play, because Arteta needs to give Gabriel the minutes to build up to the Liverpool game. So I think Gabriel and Saliba will start. And if they both start, I don't see Bournemouth scoring any goal. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Bournemouth, but that's just the way it is. And if our attack can continue in the same fashion that they have, especially in the game against Aston Villa, I think in the last 3 games we've been averaging about 18 shots per game, and that says a lot. So if you can continue in that fashion, I see us scoring goals. Havertz is back. Gyökeres is fit. Jesus is back. We have options to attack and to score. And so I maintain my prediction. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 2. And hopefully elsewhere, Chelsea can do the job against Man City for us, but we won't be banking on that, right? But if they're able to do the job for us, oh well and good. If Nottingham Forest can get a result against Aston Villa for us, oh well and good, and then we'll be able to, extend our lead in the Premier League or on the Premier League table. Now that concludes this particular episode, the game preview between Bournemouth and Arsenal. Like I said earlier, if you're interested to, participate in the live studio for this channel, please shoot me a DM, reach out to me, and then we can start to have conversations on how, we can move forward. I have a lot of segments. I have a lot of segments coming up. So, where we can discuss and where you can feel like you belong and you can, share your opinions. We can debate, we can banter, we can do all sort of things. And I promise it's going to be super fun. So thank you so much if you stuck with me until this time. And until next time, peace out.